We gon' make it. 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 Hey, what's up, people? Your boy, Mr. Trader, died here on this lovely Wednesday morning. Once again, PP&L turned out the lights 5 in the morning. Come doing all this work, disrupted the whole schedule. What's up, PP&L? Get it together. Y'all messing things up in the Trader Dimension. All right, people, we're gonna talk about REITs today. As I discussed on yesterday's show, a REIT is a real estate investment trust. You know, that's a good way to open up a second income stream. You know, it's also a good way to invest and own property without being a landlord. You know, and that's like the main pro of owning a REIT. You know, you get to own a property, you get to get paid for the property, but you don't have to pay to keep the upkeep of the property. Good morning to you, Facebook user. It doesn't say who you are, it just says Facebook user. You gotta tell me your name. But good morning. Yeah, that's all it says. Is that's all you want. So a REIT. So all right, so when you do traditional real estate investing, first off, you got to find the property. Okay. Then, in order to close the property, that's a long process. And you yourself can't directly invest in the property. You got to go through a realtor. So, whoever you go through, you have to pay. Well, I'm sorry, you don't pay them directly, but they get a cut. So, that's why the price may be a tad bit higher. So, and it's a long process of buying a house and selling a house. It's not just, again, liquidity. Remember, we talked about two type of assets: liquid assets, illiquid assets. A REIT is a liquid asset because it's bought and sold as a stock, whereas traditional real estate, a house, commercial real estate, land, property, that is illiquid because it is an asset, but it's a slow moving asset. It takes a long while for it to be bought or sold. So if you're like a patient person, you know, traditional real estate, like a direct real estate investment may be for you. But if you like to move fast, whatever, and you like see a quicker return on your investment, a REIT is for you. Because again, it's a trust and it's bought and sold on the stocks exchanges. You got them on NASDAQ and NYSE. So also you can also choose index fund that invest in REITs or mutual fund invest in REITs. See, there's all type of ways to get in the game of buying property or buying real estate. Man, I'm having trouble on it. Just woke up. There's all type of ways to get in the ways to buy property without going through a realtor. That's why we chose REITs because like again with a REIT, every time someone pays their rent, and in turns gets paid to all the shareholders of the company. No, your investment depends on how many shareholders are in that trust. So that's a big thing you want to check for too. How many shareholders are in the trust? How much is the return on investment? So we're going to start discussing some things about the REITs. What qualifies a company as a REIT? So for a company to qualify as a trust, a real estate investment trust, it has to spend 90% of its investments back out to the shareholders, which means, well, I'm sorry, not investments, taxable income, which is that's good. That's like dividends. That's basically what a REIT is. It's a dividend. All the income that they make, they spend back out to their investors. Now, one of the downsides about that is they don't really invest back into themselves. Like I explained yesterday, with the dividends, the pros and cons of the dividends is, all right, so yeah, the company makes a profit and it pays the shareholders, but sometimes it's better for a company to make a profit and reinvest those profits back into the company to make more products or more innovative products. So therefore, the price of the stock rises up. So it's like a trade-off when you do the REITs or the dividends. You get paid through the company, or do you want the stock to rise, which is be capital appreciation, as we talked about. You know, Now the thing about a REIT is a trust. It needs to have at least 100 shareholders. So just look at it like that. At least 100 people fingers are in a pie. That's not bad or it's not good. It's just that You just need a trust that owns all types of properties. So see, like the more properties the trust owns, that's um the more amount you're going to get paid. So you want to look for a REIT that owns all type of properties. Like I just said, the more properties, the more amount you're going to get paid. Um, but it's crazy though, because like I just told you that a REIT, the qualifications must have 100 shareholders, but exactly 50% of them are owned by 5 people. That's crazy. Um, Now, of all REITs, 75% are invested in real estate, and also 70% of the gross income must be received from rents, which is the property rent or the interest mortgages or the finance or the property or real estate taxes of the sale. Which pretty much means that same as if you owned your house, you paying your property tax when you bought it, you financed the sale, all of that. That's what it's saying that must be paid out to the shareholders of the REIT. Because like they deal with residential properties, commercial properties, industrial, all type of properties. Every time you see a REIT could own a house, it could own an apartment building, it could own a gas station, it could own an office building. Whatever property that trust desires to invest in, they're liable to own. All right, now I just told you there's a few type of REITs. You got equity REITs, you got mortgage REITs, and you got hybrid REITs. And they just both, hybrid is a combination of both. Then you got all right, all right. Now, as I said, with the equity and the hybrids, then you got the other type of REITs. It's 5 different types. You got retail REITs. Now, we all know what the word retail. So a retail REIT would be a mall, a shopping plaza, shopping mall, a strip mall, anything like that. So next time you're driving down the street and you see a little strip mall, you see a mall, see who owns that mall. 9 times out of 10, it's owned by a trust. It's not a direct property. It's more of a trust, a REIT, a real estate investment trust. You might want to invest in that. Now, word to the wise though. You if you're gonna look for a strip mall to invest in or the trust that owns that strip mall, make sure that they got good stores in that mall. Make sure that their people frequently go there. Make sure that they have constant traffic, and make sure that they got good high quality stores because you don't want to invest in a REIT where they got bad stores where the plaza always empty or the plaza got graffiti all over it. You want to make sure it's in a good neighborhood where people are constantly frequenting. So that's the good thing about a REIT, the retail REIT. Now, as I was just saying, approximately a quarter of all REIT investments are in shopping malls. Everybody like malls, even though people say there's online shopping, which is true, but shopping plazas ain't going nowhere no time soon. So again, everyone out there that's looking to invest in some retail REITs, I'm sorry, looking to invest in property, but you might not have the capital up front, a REIT is a good way to get into it. Retail REITs, like I just said, shopping malls, shopping plazas, strips with restaurants, what else? Gas stations. Or gas stations can be owned by the person that owns the station, or it could be a REIT too. It all depends. That's something you might want to do more research on. Thing like that. But it's an important thing to remember about a retail REIT. It's about all REITs in general. The majority of the money they make is by the rent that they charge their tenants. All right. So as I was telling you, if you're going to invest in a retail REIT, you want to make sure it's in a property that has all the stores filled, or that has, if it's a vacancy, is filled fast. Because if there's no stores in that plaza and you invest in it, how are you going to get paid? You're not going to see no return on your investment. So you always want to check out, make sure that that is in a good location and it's profitable, and the stores in the REIT are profitable. Because like again, if you're not being if there's no stores in that plaza paying their rent, how can you get paid by investing in there? All right. So all right. And again, about the REIT, like I told you in the previous podcast, fundamental analysis. That's how you do your reach. Check the cash flows, the ins and out, assets, liabilities. Check the balance sheets. That's what every individual stock you want to do. That's the most important thing, actually. That's first. Make sure that the REIT is profitable. Make sure that it's profitable on the fundamental tip. And once you determine that it's profitable, then you move on to the next step: location, 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 and make sure that stores are in a profitable location. Make sure that they have good stores, and make sure that they got one base, like one good anchor store. So in the strip mall, there's always that one big store that everyone knows in the strip mall, where it's like a Lowe's or a Giants. Grocery store REITs are great because grocery stores are always going to be around. So if you're going to invest in the retail REIT, look for one that got like the Giants or Publix or Piggly Wiggly. You know what I'm saying? Because like grocery stores or or the anchors. That's what you want to look for a REIT. As a matter of fact, look for an anchor store. So as we say, Giants. What else is a good store that people know that when you drive by strip mall, you see that store? See, back in my day, I'm an old man. It was Hills and Kmart. Now I don't know. Target. Look for a strip that got a Target in it. Yeah, Target is a good anchor store. See, Walmart's are kind of free. They're kind of free standing stores. You don't see too many Walmarts and plazas, but you do see Targets and plazas. So Target is a good anchor store. So next time you drive by a shopping plaza, and you see a Target, try to find out who owns that plaza, and if it's a REIT, do your research. You might want to invest into it. All right, so we go into the next one. So we said our first category was the retail REITs, which is shopping and whatnot. The next one is residential REITs, and the residential is it's the ones that own multi-family apartment buildings. Now I heard people talking about all the time they want to buy. All right, Joseph Evans Carter. Yeah, that's what I thought they was shareable. All right, I'll have to do that myself when I get on. When I get, that's a good idea. I thought they was, but yeah, as I was saying, yeah. So the residential REITs is housing. Like people always say that they want to buy property, they want to buy apartment buildings. That shit costs money. I'm sorry, that's I don't like cursing in my lives. That stuff costs money, man. And as I just said previously, re, uh, real estate is an illiquid asset. That doesn't mean it's not an asset. Real estate is a valuable asset, but it's illiquid. It takes a long time to move that, to buy it, to sell it. A REIT, on the other hand, is liquid. You get, if you drive by an apartment building, find out who owns that building. More times than not, a REIT is owned by a REIT. You can go down to Ameritrade, call it up, put it in. You own shares. Now obviously the amount you're going to get paid depends on however shares you purchase in the REIT. So don't just think you're going to buy one share and you're going to own property. I mean, you do if you buy one share, but what I mean is you want to buy shares, but you got to start small. So a share here or share there, that's it adds up after a while, you know. So and you want to look for, all right, REITs are normally found in places that got high rent. Like look for property in cities like New York. That's a great, or LA or Miami, Chicago. Big cities that got high rent, or big cities that got a lot of single people. For the simple fact is single people are more likely to stay in apartment buildings and high rise. Well, I mean, there's families in there too, or young. Let's say you get younger adults. That's a better way. 20s and mid 30s, because once people get families, they want to move out to the suburbs and out that way. So big cities, urban centers with a high singles or high young adults is a good way to find retail residential REITs, because you're looking for places, because most residential REITs are pretty much apartment buildings, like high rises, condos, things like that. Now houses, you may see a REIT that owns a house. I mean, they may own multiple houses spread around, but that's not really as rare. Most of the times, it's going to be apartment buildings, condos, uh, shit, strip, like the Jones where that, like the row houses, like 10 row houses, all the strip, all connected. That's what you're going to find your residential REITs. So again, big cities that got young adults, that got singles, that's like NY, LA, San Diego. See, anywhere where the rent is mad high, that's a good chance to find a residential REIT where you're gonna get paid, because people gotta pay their rent. So shit, every time the rent's paid, that's when you get paid every month. So again, cities that got high rent, That'd be the first place I check for a retail REIT. I mean, a residential REIT. And again, as I said before, once you figure out what REIT you want to do, fundamental analysis. I cannot emphasize that enough. Just because the REIT, it may be sexy on the outside, you gotta check the inside. And it's not REIT, but it's a segue to the point I'm trying to make. Like everybody wants to buy Hertz because Hertz went from 80 cents to 6 cents. I mean 80 cents to $6. But they didn't realize that Hertz said that all them shares that they about to sell is gonna be completely useless, worthless, because Hertz has so much debt. So again, people, no matter how sexy you look on the outside, you want to check the fundamental analysis. That's like, especially with REITs. See, like I say, I'm a day trader. I don't do fundamental analysis for nothing. But when I check my REITs, that's one thing you kind of want to do because you're dealing with property value and things like that, which is an important thing to do. So again, when you invest in your residential REITs, you want to check for cities that got high cost of living, high rent, really, because that's how you get paid by owning your REITs is the rent. So cities with high rent, cities that got bunch of young adults with high amounts of singles, things like that. A bunch of, like I say, and why would be the first place I check. New York. There's so many condos, so many apartment buildings, and it's so damn expensive. ATL, look for REITs that have properties in those areas. That's what I'm trying to say. When you look for the residential REITs. All right. And the next one, this is a good one too. Healthcare REITs. You know what I'm saying? The thing with healthcare REITs, man, that's, you know, the number of Americans predicted the age, all these baby boomers, and my generation coming up next behind the baby boomers. I turn 40 in a year and a half. I'll be a senior in like 15 years, man. Wow. But yeah, back to the point I'm trying to make is healthcare would be a good way to. Matter of fact, not just healthcare REITs, healthcare stocks in general. But that's a whole different show. But yeah, healthcare REITs, man. Hospitals, nursing homes, medical centers, retirement homes, urgent care facilities. Shit, this healthcare is where it's at. So again, next time you drive by the hospital, you drive by a retirement home, you drive by an urgent care facility, something like that. Check to see if it's owned, if it's privately owned or it's owned by a trust. It's a good chance. Like I say, things with that, and the things with healthcare, it don't matter. That's a recession-proof thing to invest in. That's a recession-proof sector because people are always gonna get old. No matter if you have money or not, if you're rich or poor, you're gonna get old. No matter if you're black or white, fat or skinny, whatever, you're gonna get old. That's like one thing you cannot deny. So healthcare REITs, healthcare stocks in general, that's a good thing to do your research on. Speaking of that, segue this coronavirus thing, like healthcare, healthcare you should just check into. But back to what I'm saying is the healthcare REITs. That's a good idea. Like shit, here in Harrisburg, man, they building hospitals or they renovating a hospital or changing ownership. And just imagine bigger cities with bigger populations. Again, I check for New York, LA, big cities with big populations. Got Chicago, cities that got multiple hospitals or retire. You want to check, go to, all right, so we're going to leave hospitals. We're going to go the opposite way to retirement homes. Check down in Florida, Arizona, California, cities that got a high 65 and older population. Look for that. Retirement centers, things like that. Because, you know, healthcare, again, it's a recession proof industry. You always want to check and see where the healthcare is coming from. You just want to check because you would be surprised how many hospitals are owned by REITs, how many nursing homes, how many urgent care facilities. And again, it's impossible for an investor like me or you to invest in a hospital through a realtor. We will have to have so much money. But going through a REIT, you just need to have the price of the share. Whatever the share price is, you buy it, you're now invested into a hospital or urgent care facility or a retirement home or medical center, what have you, clinic, what have you. So that's a good way to get into healthcare. Matter of fact, that's the only way to get into healthcare unless you're a multi-millionaire because you just can't go and buy a hospital. That's just impossible unless you're a multi-millionaire. And I think even then, they like they're not owned by one person. They're owned by non-profits. So I don't know if it's even possible for a person to buy a hospital or a nursing home or a healthcare facility. But investing through a REIT, you now own shares in those properties, and you now can say that you own because you technically do. You know, you got the shares of it, and you're gonna get paid. And the thing with that is, which brings to my next point, which is the most important point for any REIT. You only get paid when the tenants pay their rent. Hospitals forever pay their rent because they need space. Nursing facilities, you know, those like I just said, REITs. I'm sorry, healthcare in general has a tendency to be a recession-proof industry for the simple fact people are always going to get sick. They're always going to get old. It doesn't matter if we have a good economy or a bad economy. It doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. As I said, black or white. You know, it doesn't matter. Now, being rich, being from a better environment, you can kind of delay the effects of aging. You know, you can get better health care, better food, better quality of services, but you're still going to get old. You cannot deny that fact. So yeah, again, healthcare REITs is a good thing to invest in. And the third one we're gonna get into is office REITs, which is office space, which is pretty much, man. You don't look for cities again. Like the thing with REITs, man, you want to look for bigger cities because that's where it's shaping up to be. So the thing with like I said, with the residential REITs want to look for high rises, condos, apartment buildings, things like that. Those are more of a tendency to be found in the bigger cities with a higher population. So we go to the office REITs. It's the same thing. You want to look for bigger cities that got more office space. You want to look for a smaller city that got the offices because you're going to waste your time. You want to look for a REIT that invests in again New York, Philly, DC. You know, see, I'm on the East Coast, so my mind goes to the East. But someone out west, Seattle, San Fran, LA, Denver, you know, or if you're in the Midwest, Chicago, St. Louis, you know, things like that, or the South, Miami, ATL, Jayville. The thing I'm trying to make is no matter what area of the country that you stay in or the area that you may want to invest in, you just look for a bigger city. Because again, with the office REITs, which is office space, you want to look for cities that got offices. Shit, DC, like D, I bet you DC would be a great city to invest in REITs for the simple fact it's the nation's capital. How many organizations have their headquarters located in DC? How many organizations? How many lobby organizations, international organizations, embassies, this and that and this? I would do some research on some REITs that own properties in DC. I guarantee you'll probably find some good prices or some good places to invest in. For the simple fact, DC is it's the nation's capital. Shit, it's a lot of companies that stay there. Also, though I said bigger cities, you want to look at the quality of the big city. All right, so we're gonna compare. Let's compare DC to Detroit. Now they're both big cities. They're both urban centers, but I don't know the property value of either city. But if I was a man that make bets, if I was a betting man, I would wager to say that the property value of the buildings in DC are most likely higher than the ones in Detroit. You know, so but on the flip side is Detroit might have some value REITs where the company may be trust may be in the positive on the books, it's just in the low because of the environment it's in. So that may be a good way to buy. So it's kind of you can play it both ways. But on average though, I would probably invest in a city that has the higher property value because again, you only get paid when the tenants pay their rent. So you want to invest in an environment or a city that the people want to stay in and continue to stay and continue to pay their rent in. So DC, I keep saying Midtown Manhattan. I bet you Midtown Manhattan will have some great REITs. Just New York and general, not even New York in general, probably not the Bronx, but like Midtown Manhattan, places like that, LA, you know, places like that. All right, so when you look for the bigger cities, look for the business districts of the bigger cities, or the fashion district, or the art district. Look for the trendy urban districts that people like to frequent. So you want to look for the office spaces in those districts because you know it's not all. houses and the residentials. They have office space in those parts of towns too. So when you look for your REITs, you want to check the location. Look at the city it's located in. Look at the location of the location. You know, what part of the city is it located in? Is it a good part of town? Will the tenants prefer to stay there? You know, like that's important because I can't stress this enough, man. When you're dealing with REITs, you only get paid when they pay. If they don't pay, you don't get paid. So you location, location, location is everything. You know, and the fifth part is mortgage REITs. Now, now, a mortgage REIT, it's kind of weird because all right, so a trust. All right, so we talked about residential REITs, how you invest, you know, in like office space. I'm sorry, apartments, high rises, condos, things like that. With a mortgage REIT, you're not directly investing into a house mortgage. You're more like companies like Freddie Mac, Sally Mae, things like that. So that's honestly, I don't really deal with mortgage REITs. I actually never heard of that until I did research for that. The other ones I deal in, so I know about. So yeah, the mortgage rate is kind of risky because you're dealing with mortgage rates and things like that, and subprime rates, which was kind of what caused the collapse of 2008. So I kind of stay away from anything to deal with that mortgages. But if you want to learn more research, just go to Google, type in mortgage rates. You know, all this information comes from Google. You know, you can Google it. Again, now we go to the pros and cons of the REITs. Like we always say, the biggest, in my opinion, anyone else's opinion, the biggest pro of the REITs is liquidity, man. You get your money as soon as you want it, or as soon as you sell the shares. Whereas traditional real estate, it takes a while to get paid. It takes a long time for you to close that sale. But also with a REIT, it's two ways to get paid from a REIT, though. You got to realize it's a trust and it's bought and sold as a stock. So the two ways you get paid from a REIT is the most important way is the tenants pay their rent. The second way you get paid from a REIT is capital appreciation, which is also those two ways. Is the two ways that you can lose money. The tenants don't pay their rent, and capital depreciation, which pretty much means whatever stock. All right, so appreciate and depreciate is bullish bearish. Price goes up, price goes down. It loses value. I'm sorry, it gains value, it loses value. So pretty much is if you bought it in a REIT at $5, if it went up to $5.05, that is capital appreciation. If you bought it in a 505 and it dropped to $5, that is capital depreciation. But the thing is with the capital gains, you only realize your capital gains once you sell the stock. So that's kind of the bad thing about the. I mean, it's not a bad thing actually. It's actually a great thing because you know that once you sell it, you got this money coming to you. But while you continue to own the REIT, you're getting paid while the tenants pay their rent. So, like I say, there's two ways to get paid by the REIT. That is the actual, like I say, the most important way is them paying their rent, and the second way is the capital gains, which just means that stock increases in value, which is always a good thing. You know, and again, like as the other pro is you get to invest in real estate, you get to own property, but you don't have to be the landlord. And that's a hassle because my granddad owned properties, and man, it was a hassle. People constantly calling and complaining about this, that, and it's like, man, is it worth it? When you own a REIT, you you get to all the property, you get all the money from owning it, but you don't have to deal with none of the hassles of people calling, complaining about this not working, that not working, this not working. No, but that all right. So the flip side of that is though, so you get to own a property, but so do 100 other people. So those rental payments are split between however many shareholders are in a REIT. As we discussed, it has a minimum. The mandatory minimum is 100 shareholders. So that's 99 other ways that money's being spent. I mean, it's being shared out. But see, that's good though because if it's a REIT that invests in good properties, bigger properties, you're gonna have more value. So you're gonna get more. The payment's gonna be better. But again, the more shares you invest in, the more money you're gonna get out. That's just facts. So let's see. Now the cons about a REIT is it's a stock, so it's exposed to the stock market. So whereas housing market is not really connected to the stock market. A REIT is a stock, it's a trust. So even though you're dealing with real estate, as we said, office, residential, healthcare, all different types of real estate, it's a trust. So it's connected to the stock market. So when the stock goes up, it goes up. But when the market goes down, a REIT goes down and it loses value. So that's like, it's pros and cons of that. It's a double-edged sword when you invest. You gotta take the good with the bad with the good. You know. So another thing about a REIT, since it's property value, since it's property, it can take on debt because all right, so the trust itself has to pay for the property it owns. But if there's no tenants paying the rent, the trust has to start paying the property. The has to start paying for that. So yeah, I know. I don't know what the hell happened. My screen technical, yo, I'm telling you, man, PP&L, yo, they've been doing power out, yo, it's been messing with my house like the last like 3, 4 days. Technical difficulties. I'm taking cold showers. The power just go out any time of the night. Yo, listen, I don't know what's going on. All right, so back to what I was saying about the REITs. But yeah, so they take on mad debt because for the no they if you got a good REIT, obviously with a bunch of tenants, they won't take on debt because the rent's being paid. But if you somehow invest in a bad one where they don't have no tenants, so you're in the bad side of town, they're gonna take on debt because property has to be paid. And all right, and the thing about a REIT is since for it to be a REIT, it has to pay out its taxable income. It has slower growth than other firms. For the simple fact is paying out all this profit is paying out to the shareholders instead of reinvesting it, which it can make it grow faster. But like I say, that's a trade-off that you take. That's why you invest in the REIT because you want the payout. So basically, man, when it comes to your REITs, it's pros and cons. Basically, you got to figure out: do you want a company that pays out to the shareholders, or do you want a company that reinvests back into the company? So if that's the case, you don't want to go to a REIT. But if you want a separate income stream, like we said before, this is what you call passive income because you're not actively investing it. Well, I guess you are, but you're buying and holding, so that's like a passive. The actively would be day trading and buying and selling on a daily basis. This you're just passively holding it. So again, this would be an income stream. You know, like shit, you start buying. Check out companies. Uh, Google this. How do REITs work? Which REITs pay the most dividends? Or which REITs, just Google it. Real estate investment trust. You got to start somewhere. So you just go to Google, look for your trust. Remember, people, this morning was rough for all of us, but remember, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. Power outage and all. PP&O ain't going to stop the hustle. You know, power outages, everything. Stop my internet. This is a rough morning. But yeah, people, remember, man, invest in them REITs. Do your research, fundamental analysis, check the balance sheets, make sure it adds up. Other than that, What up, Clyde Price? But yeah, other than that, on that note, your boy Trader Die. I'm out this morning. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Thursday. I don't know what we're gonna get on Thursday. I'm gonna check, get on something. Might compare brokers because now I'm free in the morning. I can go through these day trading apps and look and see which ones are good. Some of them are good, some are bad. Go through the brokers. Oh, we can do a crypto podcast, talk about crypto. A lot of people don't really understand. Only one they really know is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is like the worst one actually of all the crypto coins. Bitcoin just happened to be the first one. It's the biggest one. It's the most well known. But the thing with being the first is, all right, so he was the first, but everything made after you was made with your weaknesses in mind. So every coin made after Bitcoin is way better than Bitcoin. But for some reason, Bitcoin was the first coin, so it has the most market value, and that's all people really know is Bitcoin. So that's what we might do tomorrow. Yeah, we might do a crypto podcast. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But on that note, people, you guys have a good day. And stay up. And freaking PP now, man. Stop messing up my damn house. All right, have a good morning.